So Esther, I'd like to start with what is obviously the beginning of the book. Let's start with chapter 1. Tell me what we're talking about in chapter 1. And I ask this question like I haven't read the book 3 times, but for those people watching, tell me about chapter 1.
Well, there are 12 chapters. Each chapter has a lesson, a life lesson, and each lesson has a theme. So in the beginning of my life, the title of the chapter is A Child Trying to Cope. And one of the things I learned how to do was cope. And I also learned that you can't always believe what people tell you. But what you can believe is what they actually do. So trust is a big theme for that chapter. And life was a little complicated and scary and confusing for me at that point, as it often is for any infant, because who knows what's going on when you're an infant. So, but that's the beginning, is trust is key. And when you don't have it, life is scary. When you don't, it's important to be able to build your emotional house and kind of your physical house on a rock so that you have some security and a few things that you can count on. And that's essential for anybody, to be able to feel safe, that their physical needs will be met. And then the other side is the emotional needs. So those things happen concurrently for the first couple of years. And a baby, an infant, learns about herself or himself, first of all, through others. So if other people see you, you kind of get the idea that you're important and people want to know something about you. But if your caretakers, usually a mom, are sick or disinterested or angry or scared or not really wanting to do what they're doing or knowing how, then what happens is you get to learn that you're not that important. And so then you get into survival mode, which causes other problems.
Well, and I think that then your expectation is the rejection that you feel from the family, from your mirrors,
right.
Is something that you then expect to receive from every subsequent human interaction. So your expectation is always rejection from that point forward. It's not, you don't expect trust in a relationship and then you are, betrayed or disappointed or something happens. Your expectation right from step 1 is that you're going to be rejected. And so there's no reason for you to invest in healthy behaviors because you're ultimately going to be rejected.
Well, because all you know is all you've experienced, right? As a child, you haven't gone out the front door, so to speak. And so all you know is what you're living with. So there's nothing even else to think about until you go to school or start to watch television or have brothers and sisters or whatever. And so you don't even know what's possible. So
Right. I think that's exactly right. And again, one of the great things about your book is that you have this workbook section in each chapter. And so after the story and the explanation and the fairly in-depth conversation about these issues, the reader has the opportunity to, and I encourage them to, write in the book. Take out your pencil and go through the exercises. And I admitted to you that I'm the person that has graffiti on books, and you said that on Amazon, if I were loath to write in my book, I could go to Amazon and actually download the workbook document separate and apart from the book so that I don't mark up my book. But I do encourage people, and you've given some really good exercises for folks to go through at the end of each chapter. And in chapter 1, I think that just like childhood, it's necessary to fill out that bit of the workbook so that you can move on to subsequent chapters.
Yeah, because it's foundational, right? It's just the beginning is your actual experience. It's not your impression. It's not philosophical. It's not anything other than real. And so, for instance, in the back, the questions are, how does this resonate with me? And is there a breach of trust that you experience, and how did you deal with it? And have you ever had trouble in trusting people? And one of the things that I've done in the book, because really the point of the book is that I got unstuck, and a reader can do it too if they want to. So at the end of every lesson are skills. So for instance, in order to, learn more or work through the issue of trust for myself, some things that would help me are learning how to, as you said, manage expectations, exercise self-control, trust myself, and trust others. So in the back of the book actually are some skills for what does that mean, manage expectations? Well, what do you mean exercise? So the skills in the back, the book really is about, you can do it too if you want to, and here's a place to start. So I'm pretty committed to, I guess one of the motivating factors in writing the book is that I really, 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 really hate it when people waste their lives, right? Because everybody has the ability to be a great person and create a life that's meaningful, fulfilling, and joyful. And so when people allow circumstances and other people to define them, and they get stuck in somebody else's expectations or reality or whatever, and they never get to know themselves, having lived that, first of all, it's painful, it's aggravating, and it's kind of dumb. Because, every person gets their own life, and the idea is to do your own life. Like, you don't want to do mine, and I don't want to do yours, and do your own. So really want people to understand that it's possible to do something different and be somebody you're proud of.
Well, and I think what I would like for people to understand is that if they just go through this book, and this isn't the War and Peace. This is a very perfectly sized book that a person like me, or a reader, can get through in a half a day, and then you go back and read it again and work your way through all of the exercises. And so I think what I would like to implore is that people read it, chapter 1 through chapter 12, go through the exercises, because it sounds like such a big get, what you're talking about, when in fact you've laid it out so simply and so clearly that it's really not that hard to get unstuck. If you just follow these workbook pages and work your way through the chapters, it's not that hard.
Little bite-sized pieces work.
Boy, do they ever. All right, Esther, thanks so much for the outline of chapter 1. We look forward to moving forward with you in the book in near future.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.